Everybody, this is Ori from AstroWeb. In today's video, I'm going to introduce the Shopify e-commerce platform. So what is Shopify? Shopify is an all-in-one e-commerce platform to allow businesses to open a shop and run a shop online. That's the basic idea. Shopify is one of the more popular platforms online, and in my opinion, it's the best one for small businesses. Just because the cost of running a shop is very low, the stability, the functionality, the integration, so what you can do and what you can connect with, and it's for the most part pretty intuitive how to use it and work with it, so I really like it. Our company mostly does Magento websites, but for really smaller projects, we like it for some businesses that have small budgets and they're trying to just start up. Shopify is really good. There are some other businesses that are not only small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and bigger that do use Shopify and are very successful. But we've run for our clients for small businesses on Shopify, and big businesses that need very custom things, we use Magento. But for getting a shop online, running it quickly, Shopify is the way to go. I really like it. Super easy to use, and it just works. Helps you sell online and grow your business. But just on the other hand, what I want to say is Shopify, because it's an all-in-one system, which means you get the platform, you get the hosting, everything is just in one. You don't have to take care of technical side. You don't have to purchase hosting like an Amazon AWS or Linode or any of these other companies. And it just works, and you pay a monthly fee plus transaction fees. And whatever apps and integrations and extra things you're adding to your business, you pay it. It's all in one. Works really well, especially for US clients that we're familiar with, and I know they support other international businesses, for example in Europe, but really our experience with our clients is for US selling, but you can do it in Canada and other places. So this video I'm going to introduce how to use it, how to set up a store, and if you have any questions, let me know. What I can help with is detailed as you want. You can ask questions in the comments. I'll be able to make some new videos for them or answer in the comment section. So just let me know what you have in mind. What I'm going to do today is just introduce to you some of the concepts. So if I skip a few things, I'm skipping them because they're not so important or not useful for a majority of the people who are going to view this video. So today's video is about Shopify plans, not Shopify Plus. In short, Shopify has two different tiers. One is the basic ones, which most of the websites will have, which they have basic functionality. And Shopify Plus are for bigger sites that have a lot more sales, usually many tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands and up of sales every month. In short, Shopify Plus has some additional features, some apps you can install that are included. You can customize the checkout. There's some other features, but we're not going to talk about it today. So for Shopify, there's three different types of plans. Number one is you pay a monthly fee based on the plan you have, either the basic, the Shopify, or the advanced. You pay a monthly fee to Shopify, and for the most part, you get almost the same functionality for all plans, but there's a few small differences. So number one is how many staff from your business can log in to the back end. Second one, there's a few functionalities like gift cards, for example, and a very good one, which is advanced reports and customizing your reports. So additional reports of sales and customers, etc., and building your own, which is pretty important for most businesses. Other than that, you get some discounts if you do print labels or you do connect with shipping companies, UPS, FedEx, DHL, those kind of things. And most importantly is the transaction fee. So every online shop must accept some kind of payment. Usually, especially in the US, it's credit card payments. Of course, there's also things like PayPal and Amazon Pay and other things like that. But when you open a shop, you must select a payment processor. So the company that actually accepts the credit cards, processes them, talks to the bank on your behalf, and then accepts and transfers money. So based on the actual plan you select, the basic one, the middle one, or the advanced, you're going to have a per transaction fee, so per order, either 2.9% plus 30 cents or 2.6 or 2.4. These rates are if you choose to use the Shopify payment processor. If you don't want to use them, you can sign up with your own payment processor, for example, Stripe or Authorize.net or any of these other companies, WorldPay or whatever it might be around the world. And what you're going to do is you're also going to, if you do select or do not select Shopify payments, you're going to choose and make an agreement with your own payment provider, and you're also going to pay an additional fee per transaction. So when you do the calculation, you need to choose which one you want to do and look at the numbers. Okay. Other than that, Shopify also has post integration. So point of sale is if you have a physical store, you want to accept credit cards, maybe you have a restaurant or you have whatever brick and mortar store, any kind of local store, and you want to accept credit cards, you can have a device, swipe cards, and run everything through Shopify. Personally, I've never run the point of sale system in Shopify, so I'm not going to cover this in the video. Hopefully in the future we can get to it. Definitely today we're covering online store. So if you want to set up a store, you go to the website shopify.com, you start your a new free trial, you set up your email, your password, your store name. I'm not going to go through this right now. I'm going to skip that as if you've already registered. Once you register, you're going to be able to log into the backend. As a partner, we basically have multiple stores, so I just set up a sample store for this video. It's almost from scratch, so I can go through the important things. So I made a store pretending like I am a t-shirt shop selling t-shirts. Okay, this is just a sample store. After this video, we're going to delete it. This is just for this video. Okay, so first thing you want to do is you want to configure the business side things. Before you select the design or you upload your products or you select your inventory or things like that, what you're going to want to do is set up your business side. First thing you want to do is set up your domain name. So if you notice when you register, you get a something.myshopify.com. What you're going to want to do is set up your domain. So if you purchase a domain either through Shopify or through another party like GoDaddy or Network Solutions or anybody, you're going to go and click on Add Domain, and you're going to set up the domain here. So you're going to need someone, whoever's running, a technical person that is in charge of your domain. They'd have to change the DNS records. I'm not going to cover it in this video, but if you do have any questions, I'll answer. Really simple. You basically connect a domain, transfer the DNS, wait a few minutes to a few hours, and your front end would actually be the new domain name. Okay, and this is just the current site. Front end currently, once you connect the domain name, you'll have a different domain. So this is just a sample that I made for the video, and you'll see some differences. Okay, so what are the first things for business? You want to click on settings, and you want to configure all of your business settings before you do anything. So general, you're going to put in your store information, your store name, the email you want to send on behalf, your store address, some basic stuff like how do you want to report on the order times or reports. What is your time zone? What is your unit system? Your order number ID. So if I want my orders to start with TTR something 1001, I do that. And what is my store currency? Right now, everything we're doing is we're pretending to be in the US, but you can change these settings. Okay. Next one is payment providers. Again, you're gonna have to select if you want Shopify to support your payment processing or other companies. A good thing to do is based on where you're selling, you probably want to have more than one payment option. So for example, if I wanted to choose Shopify, I would activate it, proceed with the steps. And for example, I might also want to have PayPal, which is really popular in the US. So you can activate multiple by clicking and then logging into the account which you've already registered with PayPal or Amazon or whoever it might be. So I'm not gonna show that in this video, but it's really, really simple. If you have other third parties like Stripe or Authorize.net or other, you're going to use the third-party providers or their alternative payment methods. There's a ton in the list, so you have a lot to select from, and pretty simple stuff. So for example, if I click on choose third party, you can see there's a ton. This is one of the strengths of Shopify, that you have a lot of integrations. You have a lot of systems that all you have to do is click, maybe input a few words, and set up. You're not going to have to code a lot of things. So this is really where things get really, really good. Shipping. You're going to have to set your shipping configurations here. Okay, where are you shipping from? Are you shipping only domestic to US? Are you shipping to the rest of the world? And for each shipping, you're going to select which companies you work with. For example, FedEx or USPS or etc. If you want to edit that, you can click on edit, make your changes. And for each shipping method, right, you're going to have to select how you calculate the shipping fees. So for example, let's go back here for a second. I don't want to jump too fast. So let's say I want to ship domestically, right? So I'm going to edit that, and domestic in this case is US only. So I made this name. This is, for me, makes sense, and I'm only going to ship domestic to US. If I want to manage it, I can add or change others. And let's say I only want to have a flat base price, shipping price based on the price. So I can say, for example, if your shopping cart is between $0 and $99, I'm going to charge you a flat rate of $4. So how do I do that? Click here and I'll do flat rate, and from 0 to 99, let's say 99, I'm going to charge $4. If I click, cool. Now let's say I want to have a free shipping if it's above $100. So I'm going to keep this one and I'm going to add a new one. And this is going to be free shipping. I'm going to click on the free shipping rate, and the minimum is going to be from $100 and no maximum. Okay? And click on done. Now I got it. Okay. If you want to calculate based on the box and the weight and all of that stuff, you're going to have these things right here. Okay. One more thing that's very important. If you do select a specific shipping company, for example USPS, you can also select the actual types of services. So for example, if you want expedited or next day or any one of these, you're going to have to check box these or otherwise. So you have a lot of different options for that. So first, from a business side, this is why I want to do the business side first. You have to figure out what are you shipping, what are the box sizes, how do you charge shipping, which companies you want to work with, etc., etc., and then which services. So you finish that, you click on save. Okay, great. So now I'm going to go back to settings and we're going to jump to the next one. So let's go to taxes. So taxes is a really, really important thing. For your business, depending on where you're selling, there's going to be a lot of different tax considerations, tax calculations, many different things. In the US, for example, it's very, very complicated how to charge tax. So depending which state you're selling and how many locations you have and employees or at least salespeople, things like that, you're going to have to charge sales tax in the states and areas that you're supporting. So you really want to research that. I would recommend reading this, doing a lot of research for it, because you want to collect tax and you want to pay tax. Okay. Other things, for example, if you're selling in US, obviously taxes are excluded from the price that you see on the product. So if a product costs $10, when a customer buys, they add to cart, maybe the $10, the grand total would be $10 plus, for example, 8% or something like that. So if you are selling in other countries, for example, Europe, you might want to have that the tax are actually included. So you would use these settings to change some certain things. Also in Europe, for example, there's different tax rates on physical goods and digital goods. So you'd have to do these considerations. Okay, next. Okay, so locations. You're going to set up, if you have multiple warehouses or multiple ways to fulfill orders, you're going to set it up. But in this video, because this is a beginner video, we're going to have one location. Okay, great. Gift cards, I'm going to skip that, just a small feature. Notifications. So every automated thing that the system does when they send an email to a customer, you'll be able to customize that here. So for example, when a customer registers, they get a welcome email. That thing you can customize and change that to fit your business. Maybe put your logo, put certain words, put a coupon code, all these other things. So anything about order related, shipping related, customer, and other, you can actually customize here. So let's say I want to customize my thank you for registering email. I'm going to click here. And now there's the subject line and there's the actual HTML. If you're not familiar with HTML, don't touch this. Find someone that will help you do that, because if you mess it up, you're going to have a problem. Regardless, if you do change it, you're going to want to preview, and most importantly, you're going to want to send the test email to yourself to see how it looks in different email providers, right? One more thing about it is you're going to have variables in the system. So if you want a variable is basically something that the system has that would be different from every customer. So for example, if I want to say, hi, first name of the customer, there's no way for me to put that in the template. So I have to use a variable, right? So if you click here, you'll be able to see all the variables, order numbers, customer name, customer email, all these other things, right? And so they're shown in these kind of funny brackets with the specific requirement. Again, if you're not sure, don't touch it. Find someone to help you with it. Okay, let's jump to the next one. Files. You can upload files that you can reference in different places. So if you want a way to upload, you click here and you select from your computer, you upload them, and you'll be able to see the file here, search for them, of course. And if you want to reference them, for example, you want to link to a certain image or a certain PDF or a certain Excel sheet or an order form or something like that, you'll be able to just take this URL and then embed it in your email or in your page or link to it, etc. You can also delete things here. Okay, other than that, sales channels. This video we're only selling online, so we're not going to touch this. But if you do sell in other places, for example, you have a physical store, or you're selling also on Amazon or eBay or any other location, you're going to set up more sales channels. Okay, so let's go here. Let's close this. Okay, next one. Accounts. This is where you're going to set up the permissions for who else in the company can access the account. And how you're going to do that, you're going to click on staff account, you're going to add them, their first name, last name, email, they're going to receive an invitation, and you need to make sure if you want them to have full permissions or not. Full permissions means they can access everything, orders, products, billing, apps, everything. Or if they don't need to have full permissions, you can select here the specific ones you want them to have. As a rule, don't give too much access to someone that doesn't need things, right? For example, if you give someone that doesn't know how to manage the domain, they literally could disassociate your domain name, things like that, right? Or your theme. They can change your color scheme or your banners or things like that. Okay, be careful with these things. Next. Okay, billing. This is where you're going to put the credit card which you pay the monthly fees of Shopify, right? So pretty simple. And the last one for settings is legal. You always want to notify your customers about your policies, your refund policy, your privacy, your terms, your shipping policies. You're going to put it here, and then you can use this data to embed it in the front end. Okay, so you definitely want to do it. If you're not sure what to do, happy to answer some questions, but in general, you can Google e-commerce refund policy template, take that as a starting point, figure out how you want to actually provide information to your customers so they have more information before they order. Okay, great. So now we've set up the business side. Now we're ready to do the more fun stuff, the things that are more visual. Okay, so after settings, the next thing we want to do is select an actual theme, an actual design for the front end. So this is our current website, doesn't look too good, and so what we want to do is customize this a little bit. So what are you going to do? Okay, so I'm going to click here on Online Store, and I'm going to click on Themes right here. When you click on Themes, this is your live theme. This one with the preview you see right now is what we see in the front end. So if I want to customize it, I can click here on Customize, and the layout, the view is really, really nice. So you have a few cool things you can do. So first of all, you're going to have a switcher here to show you the difference between how it looks on desktop, how it looks on a very wide, big desktop, and maybe most importantly, mobile view, right? So most websites have more mobile visitors than desktop visitors. So a lot of the time you want to start, and once you customize things, start with the mobile side first. Okay, so other thing you can see here is you can view how the page looks on these different pages, homepage, cart, collections, etc. Okay, so let's go here. I'm going to go back to desktop just to show a little bit more visual. So every website has some common elements. So the common element is the top of the website is usually called the header. The bottom is usually called the footer. Pretty simple, right? Other than that, there's menu navigations, which some websites are on the left, some websites are on the top, right below the header. And some websites in different sections have different layout and menus across. So maybe the home page might have a certain left-hand side, but maybe the product page might have in a different section. So what are we going to do? So first of all, we want to find a theme, find a design that we want. So let's go here. Let's go back. And I'm on themes. And let's say I don't want this default one. I want to change it. So either I can buy one or I can find a free one. So how do you do it? You go here to the store or to the free ones, and you can view different themes. Okay, so let's say I like, let's find a nice one. Let's say I like this one, for example. I can see some differences. Okay, let's say I love this one. I'm going to add it to my theme library. Once I add it, it's going to be available for me to use it, but it's not live yet. So before you set something live, you want to preview it, excuse me, you want to customize it first, and then you want to preview it, and then you're going to publish it, okay? So let's go down a little bit, just added the Brooklyn one, and I'm going to customize it. So what do I want to customize? I want to do things like I want to put a logo, I want to set the colors, I want to have some maybe some elements on the home page, I want to maybe change the font sizes, and definitely put like banners and products and things like that. So this is the template. I have some sections. I have the header, and I have the footer, and I have my hero banner, which is just a really big introduction image. And I have some introduction here, maybe some featured products, and the subscribe to newsletter, and some other things here. Okay? So why are these elements here? The reason why they're here is the template by default put these elements here. So here's the header. If I click on header, I can put a logo in, right? So before either I upload from my computer or I've already uploaded one before. I just made up a sticker and I put it in. Once you put it, you'll see the banner is here. Sorry, excuse me, the logo is here. And let's say I want to make the logo a little bit smaller. It's kind of too big. Cool, looks a little bit better, okay? And here's where I'm going to select my main menu, my footer, etc. So I'm going to show you that in a second. So text, announce something. Let's actually skip this. So I finished that. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back. Excuse me. I'm going to save first. Okay. So I'm going to jump back and forth, and you'll see in a second why that is. So if you notice in the website, I have my menus, etc. So before I put the design, I actually want to make the menus. These are called navigation menus. I want to put the links that are relevant to me. So for example, I'm going to go here, online store, navigation, and I'm going to put my, so here are my menus. For example, I have a main menu, which is kind of the top of the site, and I have my footer menu. So if I want to change this, right, these are the main menu, and this is the footer menu. If I want to change that, I'm going to go, I clicked on main menu, and I can drag these up and down. For example, let's put home below just so you can see, and I can edit them or delete them. So once you, or I can add a new one, right? So let's say I want to add a new one, and I'm going to call it, I want to link to the privacy policy, just for example. Okay, I click here, and now here I'm going to click on what I want to link to, and the system will show me some popular things. So either I can just put in a link. For example, I can type in https, google.com, and then I can literally click on it, and then it's here, or I can select a page. But if you remember, I wanted policies, so I clicked here, policies, and if you remember, we had a section in the settings which we set up policies. Let's just say I want this. Instead of this, I want the refund policy. Okay, I click on add. Now it's here. Now let's say I want to put it as the first one. Okay. Now again, you don't want to do this. This is just an example, but I want to show you how it works. So let's click on save, and you can see the progress bar, and it was saved. And if I refresh, now I have it here. If I click here, you'll be able to see it links to someone. So now I'm kind of starting to make my menus. Usually header menus or main menus have the main categories In Shopify, we call them collections, but it's basically a collection is a place that's listed a lot of different products, usually with filters, usually with a way to filter down. So if I am selling t-shirts, I might have a filter for white t-shirts, black t-shirts, colorful t-shirts, men's t-shirts, women's t-shirts, etc., etc. Okay, so let's go back. Now let's say I want to customize the footer menu. I'm going to click here on footer, and I can add a new section, and I'll call it temporary. Okay, or maybe I'll call it promotions. Okay, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go to link it to a page, and I don't have any pages right now, so we'll get back to that in a second. So let's say I want to link it to a certain category. Let's call it all products. Okay, so all collections. Okay, great. I save it, and that should update in the footer as well when I refresh the page. Okay, all products right here. Okay, great. So let's assume that we finished the categories themselves. Okay, we finished the menus. If you want to add another menu, you can also do that. But in our case, we just have a header menu, a top menu, and a footer menu. If I want to add a new one, literally would click here. Pretty simple. Okay, cool. Usually, if you add a new menu, you would have to add that in the code. Not always, but there's different reasons for it. So every site would always have a main menu and a footer menu at minimum. Okay, so now let's go and finish our theme. Okay, so I go here, I go to Brooklyn, I click on Customize. Okay, and my header is here. If you click here, you can see this is my menu, which we've already set up, and my footer should be okay as well, right? These are from the footer. If I want to change that, I can change the menu, if you remember. I can edit the menu just like we went before, or I can actually change the menu to a different menu. For example, I wanted to have a secondary footer or something like that. Okay, so let's continue. So now let's say I like this banner, or I like this design. Let's put some information in this, right? So if you notice here in the main content area, I have my custom HTML, my featured collection, my newsletter. So these are ready kind of like widgets, sections that you can put stuff in. So let's say I don't want to ask people to subscribe to the newsletter. I can either hide it or I can completely delete it. How do you delete it? You click here and you can remove the section. Okay, so now I don't have it. So let's say I want to change this part. So I'm going to click on the HTML. I'm going to look at it, and you have some HTML here. So this text, for example, I'm going to call it t-shirts, ... Let's say t-shirts. Then I click, you can see it was added here. So for these widgets, for these sections in the content, you have a ton of things you can do. So how do you know? What you do is you click on Add Section, and you can embed a blog post, a collection list, an image, featured products, and all these other things, maps, videos, and of course custom HTML, which you can pretty much do anything you want. Okay, so let's go here, let's go back, and let's do a few things right here. Okay, another thing you can customize is your theme settings, right? So colors, fonts, some icons, things like that. So a favorite icon, for example, is this icon at the top of the browser. Checkout, this is where you customize the checkout page, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Okay, so let's hide a few things here, simplify this page. Okay, so now we have nothing, now we only have this section. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put some banner, select, okay, right here, excuse me, 1 second. Okay, click. Okay, so sorry about that, so I just missed it. So now if I want to customize this image right here, what I can do is I can change the image right here. So let's say I want this logo. Okay, so now I put this banner here. I can make it a slider, or I can just have one image right here. So let's click here, okay, and let's re-add, let's say, a featured collection. And if I click on this, I can change this to, let's say, Adidas. Okay, so let's click here. So now I'm going to save everything. And let's go here, let's go back. So let's assume that I finished the layout itself. And I like it, okay? So let's say I want to see if I like it right now. So what I'm going to click here is I'm going to click on Actions, and I'm going to click on Preview. So when you do that, a new window will only show for you, not for customers. They'll show. So you can see I have my logo, I have my banner, and I have my Featured Collections section right here. If I like it, I can either close it, or I can later on publish it. So let's say I'm good with it, I don't want any more changes, I'm going to click on Close. And I'm going to go back here and I'm going to publish it. So how do I publish it? I go here to Actions and I click on Publish, and it's going to show a preview, and I'm going to click on Publish right here. Once I do that, if I go to the front end, be able to see here's my new website. Now it doesn't look the best right now because we're just putting sample stuff, but you can understand the idea, right? So let's go back to themes. And now this theme, Brooklyn, is my live theme. Okay, so let's go here, let's go back to customize. Okay, and I'm going to make it a little bit nicer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this one because it really looks kind of ugly. So I'm going to go here, click, going to remove the content. And we're going to go here to, let's do a little bit nicer thing. So I'm going to add a image with text. Sorry, not image with text, my mistake. I'm going to add some image with text. Let's do that. And I'm going to go here, select the image. Let's find this one. It's a little bit better. Select. And sale only today. We're in business, so let's rock. Okay, so I added something. You'll see it changes right here. Okay, and I went back here, and I'm going to hide this and do this. Okay. So now I have a really basic site. I'm going to add one more section here. For example, I want to add a video. Okay, so I click here on Add, and I go to YouTube. And I'm just going to take a certain video, whoops, take the URL, and I'm going to paste it in here, and that's it, pretty simple. Okay, go back, I'm going to save. Okay, great. So now if I refresh the page, I have a slightly cleaner website right now. I have a logo, I have a video, and that's my home page. So what you need to do from your side is really make sure that you're showcasing the most important information on your home page. A nice banner, maybe some popular products, a blog post, things like that. So let's go back and let's kind of proceed to the next step. Okay, so what is the next step? Now I have a layout. Now I can start configuring my categories, my collections, my products, and then later on we'll have some other cool things to show. Okay, so what are we going to do right now? If I click on products, I need to first of all create my collections. A collection is just a list of pages, just like a category page, right? So for t-shirts, for example, I made a collection for men, for women, for certain brands, Puma, Adidas, Nike. I just made up some right now, okay, for this video. So if let's say we want to create a new collection, I click on Create New, and let's say we want to have a collection called USA T-shirts, tees. Okay, I'm going to add a description that will be in my page. So this is a test description, and I can use the WYSIWYG to do some kind of formatting. So bolding, underline, indents, upload a picture, a video, put a table in, these kind of things. Okay, so once you finish that, this description would display on the page itself. The next setting is a really important one, which is the collection type. So once you have a collection, you're going to have to input products into that collection. You're going to have to associate certain products with certain collections. So how do you do that? You have two options you can do. Number one is a manual one. So if I click on manual right here, that means when I finish setting up this collection, the next step for me is to upload the products, and when I upload the products, I'm going to have to connect and associate those products to this collection. The other way to do it is automated associations, which basically allow me to set up rules to define automatically. For example, give me an example. I made a USA tees, so I can say in a simple rule, any products that the name, the title, so the name of that product has the word USA in it, will automatically be associated to that. Okay, and they have a few more options. For example, type, vendor, price tag, weight, things like that. When we upload products, I'll be able to explain what these things actually mean: title, type, vendor, etc. But in general, what you're doing is you're going to set up one rule or many rules. You can have multiple rules, and you're going to set up those rules in order to automate the association. So basically saving time for you. It's a really good feature. In some cases, you want to have multiple. You want to have automated and you want to have manual. So automated you can set up from the category, and then when you upload products, you can add other manual ones as well, or you can do them from here. Okay. Next one is for search engine optimization. You want to be friendly for the search engines, so you're going to edit the SEO information and edit the title tag and be very descriptive, and also put the meta description and make clean, nice, short URLs describing what that collection is about. Okay. Once you finish that, you're going to select where you're selling it. So by default, we're going to sell it only in the online store. If you have other channels, that's for another video, but you're going to assign that. Okay, you're going to go here, select, let's say I only want in the store, for example. Okay, great. Next one is you're going to upload an image. That image will show as a banner on the collection page. Let's see if we have an example here. See if we have something right here. Let's just say this is my banner. I just uploaded something small. Okay, and you're going to select the template itself. So if you've customized the layout, you have a developer to help you, you're going to select different options from the template. But if you're just setting up a new store, you're not going to change that. Do not touch this. Okay, so click on save. Great. Okay, so once you do that, you're going to start associating or creating a lot of different collections. You're going to collection for however you want to organize your sitemap, however you want to organize people finding your products. Cool. So if I click here, I can view it on my online store. Now I have a page, I have my title, I have my description, and I don't really have any products or anything here, right? So let's go to add a product. So I'm going to click on products, all products, and I'm going to see a list here, and I can preview them, or I can filter by them to find them, or I can add a new product. So let's add a new product right here. And let's say I made a new product called men's small USA 4th of July shirt. Okay, just made that up. And a description, this is a test for my product. Okay, I'm going to select, I want it to be available in my store. Now by default, you don't have to select anything, but I just wanted to show you this. Okay, and I'm going to select some images. So I'm going to upload some images. And let's see what kind of images I have. Let's say I have these two images. When these images, this is going to be, the big one's going to be my main image that's going to be displayed on collection pages and search pages and things like that. And these are the additional ones. If I want this one to be the main one, I'll just drag it. Okay. Each image, you can either preview it, just see a bigger picture, or you can set up the alt tag for search engine optimization. So you're basically describing this is a man with white t-shirt. And you can also delete it, right? So I finished that. Now I'm going to set up my price. So my price, let's say, is $19.99. But actually my retail price, if you want it, this is an optional field. So maybe my retail price is $29.99. And you can set up the cost per item. Cost per item is only for the business. It's not seen by the customers because you don't want to show them how much your product costs. But you can use it in reports, which is a really good idea. This checkbox will specify if you want to charge taxes or not, which you probably do, but that's up to your business, right? Next one is you're going to set up a SKU, which is a unique identifier for that product internally for your company. So for maybe this would be called white tea, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the ID. If the product is a globally known one, it's registered, it has the ISBN. If it's a book, for example, a UPC, if it's a product, you're going to have to put that in. Okay? And do you want to track inventory, yes or no? If you do, keep this way and put some inventory. Okay? Plus, if you want customers to be able to order even if there's zero inventory, you can checkbox this. Here you're going to specify if it's a physical product which needs to be shipped, yes or no, the weight, and where it actually ships from. Okay? And then here you can see your SEO information. Okay, so I'm going to get back to this in a second. Let's actually do this first. So variants. So in t-shirts, for example, so this product, let me save it first. This product is a basic product. So a customer can go and buy it. This is a men's small USA t-shirt. But sometimes you want to actually have, and you see here, I didn't connect it to the collection when I went to the front end because it has the word USA and we set up that rule, it's connected here. So t-shirts, for example, usually when you go to a product page on an e-commerce site, you'll be able to select the color and size that you want to work with, right? Or you want to purchase. In some cases, if you're buying, let's say, I don't know, a phone charger, then the phone charger doesn't have any options that the customer can select. They either buy it or they don't. If they buy it or they don't, this is what we call a simple product. A simple product doesn't have variants, but a t-shirt does, because the variant would be the sizes, small, medium, large, and the color, black, white, blue, green, whatever. So if you do want to set up variants, you would click here on add variant and you'd specify the sizes. So for example, size, I have S and M and L, and I put comma. After I put the letter, I put a comma and add a new one. And you can see it auto-populates. And for example, I have color. So blue, and green, and black, and white. Cool. So now when I set up these things, if you notice below, now I have this cool thing. So now this thing specified a row for each one, small, right? Small blue, small green, small black, small white, medium blue. So it basically did all of my variations in one. So this product actually has 3 times 4, has 12 variants. Okay? So what I do is I can specify the price difference if they are different, and I can specify the actual SKU. So these SKUs should be different, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, you see that. If I have my own numbers, small blue is not 1, 2, 3, 4, it's actually something else. Small green is something else, I would change that. Here I would put the barcode in, right? Each one would have its own barcode, and I would put the inventory, right? So this I only have 2, this I don't even have any, this I have 99, etc., etc. Okay, cool. So what I can do here is I can save it. Okay, perfect. So now, okay, got it. Okay, so now that I saved it, now I also have a space for images, right? So for example, if a customer went here and let's say they clicked on the product page and they want to select maybe small blue, but now they want to change it to small black. Usually the image which would need to change. See here, this is my main image, this is my secondary image. But it's not changing now. And the reason it's not changing now is I didn't define the differences. So for example, I would want to have, a white picture. So in small white, I would click here and let's say I would use this one just for example, right? Okay, so now let's save it just to show you a basic idea. Let's go here. Okay, so let's go front end. Okay, so now if I go here to small white, you can see the image changed. Okay, so that's kind of the idea itself, and the reason it's sold out is because there's 0 inventory. Okay, here for example, small black, there is inventory. Okay, great. So let's see what else we have here. The other thing about products itself. Products should be grouped into certain organizations. So the organizations are really these four parts. Number one is you're going to want to assign the collection, which category page, which collection is it associated to. And you see here, these are automatically associated. If I want to connect it myself, I can put it into, let's just say, men's. Okay, so I put it. So you can have a mix between manual associations and automatic associations. Other than that, the organization goes in this way. So product type. So for product type, you're going to basically categorize or catalog this product into something very, very big. So for example, this would be something like t-shirts, for example, something very, very big. Men's t-shirts is much smaller because under t-shirts you would have men and women and kids, etc. So you'd want to use something very, very big and broad, and you can use that for things later on. So for example, for the automatic association to collections, you can use product types. For a lot of custom coding, a lot of things you can do with a developer, you can really use product types and vendors and collections and tags for a lot of cool things. So this is more for an organization that's internal, but it also can show in different ways on the front end for the customer. Okay. Vendor. So vendor, for example, is usually seen as either the manufacturer name or the brand or things like that. So if this is, let's say, a Nike one, I would type in Nike, I would add it, and that's it. So a product can only belong to one type, and a product can only belong to one vendor. A product can belong to multiple collections, and you can also tag your products. So what that means is you can organize them in different ways. So this might be a men's t-shirt, but it also might be, young people's t-shirt, and it also might be summer, right? So once you do these things, you can actually organize them in different ways when you assign the collections automatically, or in cool ways on the front end, like have people, if they're viewing a product, they can click on one of the tags and see the other products that are similar and related. You can also use that in future for recommendation engines and a lot of other cool stuff. But here, all of these things is where you organize the product itself. So let's save it, and I'm good. Okay, so let's jump to a few other cool things. And again, if you have any questions about any of these things, just ask in the comments and really be happy to answer. Okay, so next one. So other than that, there's a few things. So inventory themselves, right? So every product, for the most part, you want to have inventory. So here you can see your inventory, you can see your products, you can see how much inventory you have and incoming. So if you want to easily manage it and you want to add inventory, you don't have to go product by product, which is go here, click on the product, add the inventory, save, and then go to the next product. You can go to inventory right here. You can easily filter and show only certain ones, add products, save it, and proceed to the next step. Incoming, there's a section here called transfers. And what that means is you can actually track inventory that you've just purchased or you've just made that is coming to your warehouse very soon. It's on its way. And so what that means is you can manage your catalog and your inventory in different ways to know what's upcoming, what's available soon. So you can actually oversell, for example. You can sell products that you don't have inventory, but you know maybe tomorrow are arriving or something like that. Okay? Let's see what other things are kind of interesting. So now we've set up categories, we've set up products. Let's jump to a few other things. So customers. Okay, here you'll be able to see a list of your customers. You'll be able to see some basic information about them. Okay, so for example, you can see their name, their email address, things like that. And you'll be able to tag them. For example, customer service might tag them in certain ways to organize the customers. You'll be able to see their history. When did they register? When would they last purchase? Things like that, okay? And also for GDPR, for example, some European regulation, you can also see their customer information. You can erase them. This is very specific to Europe, for example, okay? Let's see what else we have here. So let's go to orders themselves. Okay, so when a customer creates an order, let's go here, let's see if we can make an order. as a customer. Okay, so let's make an order. Continue shipping. Okay, so I'm going to click on the flat rate, continue to payment. Okay, so there's no payment gateways. The reason for that is I didn't configure it in the backend. So let's set up one really quickly. And I'm going to go to payment providers. And just for this sample video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a manual payment method just called cash on delivery, for example. Okay, so test. Okay, just so we can have something on the front end to show. Okay, perfect. Cash on delivery. Let me refresh the page. Okay, perfect. So now I have my payment, etc., and I can make an order. Okay, so now the order got made. Now the customer should receive an email. Thank you for your order. Here's your instructions. Here's the products you ordered, etc. Great. So if I go here to orders, now I have my first order. Okay, so now I need to fulfill that order. So depending on how your business works and your actual order and fulfillment and shipping flow, you might have different things to do. But in general, I want to introduce you to the main concepts. So an order, right now you have an order number, you have the payment, was it paid or not? The reason why it's pending is because I did cash on delivery, which obviously the payment is done when you ship it. But usually, most cases, most projects would have a payment immediately upon order creation, for example, with credit card payment. Okay, and then fulfillment. Have I fulfilled? Have I shipped it? Yes, right? Have I shipped it yet? Excuse me. Okay, so let's look at some of the cool things here. Number one is you'll be able to see a summary of the order. So order number, when was it made, what was ordered, right? One quantity of this product. Are there notes? Who's the customer? What's their customer information? What's their shipping and billing address? What's their email? And a breakdown of what they ordered. The items, the actual shipping cost, the tax charged, and the actual grand total. Okay, so let's say, for example, I did a cash on delivery, but let's say they sent me a check. So I can mark this as paid, for example. Just for example, right? And that's good. And now if I go to my orders, I'll be able to see it's paid right here. Okay, so this paid, if someone uses a credit card on your website, it'll look more like this, right? When you see it, this is a more default view itself. Okay, so what you're going to want to do usually is you're going to want to go and check the product, make sure everything is okay, and you're going to want to create a shipping label. Go to your warehouse, find the product, put it in a box, put an invoice inside, do all of your stuff, and then put the label in, close it, send it to the shipping company, and then give a tracking number. So how do you do these things? Okay. So let's see a few things. So here, because we have a demo site, we haven't configured these things, so don't worry about this right now. But what you'd want to do is input some information about your package. Maybe I put it in a box. It's one pound, for example. And based on the shipping services I configured, I'm going to get some fees right here, right? So let's say I want to ship it via, I don't know, UPS, it's USPS. So again, this will depend on how the customer selected in the front end, right? Say I want to do this, and I go here and I finish everything. And what I want to do is that I want to click on Buy Shipping Label. The reason why I can't do that is I don't have a credit card on file. But just from a simple standpoint, once you do this, you're going to buy a shipping label, you're going to be prompted to print it, you're going to print it, maybe 1 or 2 copies, you put it in the box, you keep 1 copy for your own, and you send it out, okay? And that's pretty much it. Once you send it out, the status would change, and you're ready to go, pretty much, okay? So then you finish with the order's complete, you move on to the next order. That's a really, really basic introduction to orders themselves. Okay, let's look at a few other things that you can do right now. Okay, so analytics, this is where you'll be able to see a dashboard of basic reports. For your business, you can see your total sales, you can change the time frame, And you can see some basic things like store sessions, the average order value, etc., etc. So you can kind of explore this. And in future, I'll make some videos that are for advanced reports and how you build custom reports and things like that. So here you'll be able to see all of these reports, but I'm going to make a separate video for that as well. Things like create custom report. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, let's look at this for a second. So marketing itself. So marketing is a section where you can connect to other parties, for example, Facebook, and you can run some ads, for example. You can create a campaign. For example, I want to run a Facebook carousel ad. You would actually pay ads with Facebook or with Google Shopping, etc., and you can run a campaign. You don't have to do it from Shopify backend. You can do it from your own, but there's some good integrations. For example, Google Shopping campaign. In order to run a campaign to showcase your products in Google, you'd have to sync your products. So you can use these to kind of kickstart and make everything much faster. I'm going to skip it for this video because it's a little bit more advanced and it's marketing related, not creating a Shopify site. Next one, discounts. You have two different types of discounts you can provide customers. Number one is you can create coupon codes or discount codes. So you can create codes with a certain discount and then give it to your customers. When they go to the checkout, they go to the shopping cart, they input that coupon code, they'll get a discount in their shopping cart. The other one are automatic discounts. That'll mean that the customer just adds things to their cart and they automatically get a promotion. They don't have to input a coupon code and click apply. They'll automatically get it in their cart. For example, buy more than $1,000 and will automatically give you a 10% off, something like that. So let's look at an example here for discount code. So let's create a discount code and let's make one called 10% off, let's say today only, okay, for all products. Okay, so what I want to do is click on the percentage because I want 10% off. Instead, you can also have a fixed amount or a free shipping or buy A, get Y. Okay, so I'm going to click here 10%. If I click on fixed amount, you'll see this changes. 10%, and I want to do it for the entire order, or I can apply it only to some products, for example. So here I specified all products, but if I only want to do some products or some collections, I can do that. Click here. I can search, for example, let's say collections. I can search for Nike, and I can click here, and you can see this will only apply, the 10% will only apply to the products that are within certain collections. But here, in this simple thing, I'm going to do entire order, and I can specify the condition, the minimum requirement. So for example, if I wanted to do a promotion which is buy $50 or more and get 10% off, I would go here and do this and do something like that. I can also do that with minimum quantity. Buy at least 5, get 10% off. Okay? And then who is it eligible for? Everybody or a specific group of customers or specific customers. I can put certain customers themselves. And do I want to limit it? So can this coupon code be used more than one time? Can it be used more than once per customer? Okay? And of course the activation dates. When does this apply? If you remember here, and I said today only, I would literally select the date of today. Start date, for example, would be today, and the end date would also be today. Let's say today, end date would be 11:59, for example. Okay, great. I finished that. I click on save. Excuse me, one second. Let's select for everybody, and I click on save. Okay, perfect. So now I can get a shareable link, and I can use this. I can give my customers. Okay, perfect. So let's go back here. The other one is automatic discounts. It's very, very similar itself. Okay, let's see a few other things that are interesting. So blog post, okay, so online. So in addition to having a website with products, with collections, with filters, with these kind of things, you also can write a blog post, updates about your company, news, etc. It's really, really good for marketing. So I'm gonna just really quickly show you, but basically you can create articles in a very simple way. You're gonna have titles, you're gonna have the actual article content itself, your SEO information, and tags and things like that. So tags will allow you tags will allow you to have a organization, kind of like categories and filters and these kind of things. So this is just a basic information. In future I can make a video just about blogs, but it's really, really simple. Create a blog post, create more, it'll be showing more and more. Okay, next one, which is one of the bigger things as well, apps. In the website, if you remember, we just selected a certain theme, a certain design, we created our products, we created our collections, we finished all of that stuff. Now, if you want to expand the functionality of Shopify, so Shopify has a lot of good core features, but if you want to expand it, you're going to need to go to the App Store and pay some extra money. Some of the apps are free, but a lot of them are paid extra. If you select the app that you want to use, in most cases they would be added, the bill would be added to your monthly Shopify bill. And apps is where you're really going to be able to extend your business and functionality, increase sales, and do some cool stuff. So what you want to do is click on apps, view apps itself, and then find apps that are like helping your business grow. Definitely in future I'm going to make some more information and content and videos about recommended apps, but depending on your business you're going to be a lot of different apps. For example, let me give you an example or two. Let's say on my website, I want to allow my customers to chat with me. I want a box right here on the bottom that if they have questions, they can just chat with a live representative during business hours, etc. So if I want to do that, I would go to the App Store and I might go to, let's say, type in live chat, and then I can select from these different companies that do it. So let's see if I can have this. Chat. Okay, and I would find, for example, I want to connect to Facebook Messenger live chat, okay, or Shopify chat, etc. What I would do here, I'd go here, I'd review if it's a free one, this is free for example, or if it's a paid one, review the terms, check out the reviews, especially recommend to do that. Get stuff that has a lot of high reviews and a lot of reviews. Do your research, happy to answer also if you have any questions, and look at the screenshots, read the description, check out if it fits for you. If it does fit for you, click on add the app, and you're gonna basically be able to approve it and move forward. So in some cases, so let's say I want to install this app. Okay, in some cases you're gonna have to do some configuration as well, so it really depends on the app. But apps is one of the best parts of Shopify that you can add a lot of things. So in this case, because I want to use Facebook chat to connect with my website, the configuration is for me to connect my Facebook fan page, right? But I'm not going to do it right now. If you click back here, you'll be able to see the apps you're using themselves. So if I want to add a new one, I can click on that. There's really, really a lot of cool functionality with apps. In the future, I'll recommend as well. So let me think about any other things that are really, really important. So Shopify is a very stable system. It's just going to work. It's a really good platform that will let you sell and focus on getting products online, doing your marketing, and processing orders. Other than that, you really want to think before you make a website, what is your sitemap? So how does your page structure look like? Let's go here. What links do you have in your header? How do people find your stuff? How do people search for your products? How do you tag the products? What kind of promotions do you have? Things like that. So you really want to think about these concepts. Other than that, other things that you really should think about are what kind of apps do you want to enhance your website? 2 is what kind of SEO are you're doing, what kind of search engine optimization, how are you writing your content, and the last part that I can think of right now is what kind of visuals are you using. So if you made an app, a website that is like this one, people are not going to like it. So make sure you have good quality banners, you have a good designer, you write correctly, you showcase to the customers your policies well, and you just show everything in the best way. Shopify will handle all the other infrastructure and other things very well. Make sure you portray your information the best way. Hope you enjoyed this video. Really happy to share this with you. And again, any detail you want to go into, I'm happy to answer it. Just ask me anything and we'll make some more cool videos in the future. Appreciate your time.